Dude, him versus Ciryl Gane, that's very interesting.
For sure. For sure. And I know the power is going to translate over to heavyweight. That's not going anywhere. He'll be able to flatline heavyweights.
100%, especially with zero weight cut.
Yeah. He's probably 230, 240 walking around. 230 something maybe.
He's 240.
Yeah, dude, come on.
He's 240 walking around.
That's a legit heavyweight. He's
a
big,
legit
tall,
heavyweight.
long.
Fucking guy fought at 85.
But so is Ciryl, man.
Cyryl's good.
An athlete heavyweight, not just a big guy fighting at heavyweight. He's a legit heavyweight.
To be fair, that's all Alex Pereira's done, right? He had a quick rise through the middleweight division for Alex Pereira, and since then, it was Pereira time. Anytime he fought, he was the main event on the pay-per-view. The whole world went into a frenzy. Channels all over the place, knockouts galore, and a schedule that was insane, right? So he deserves all the accolades. And I know in the past, I might have bet against him because the first time Magomed Ankalaev beat him, I thought the possible anxiety from fighting Pereira and the power, that's gone. He's going to be more aggressive this time and better with the wrestling. But he got smoked. He got smoked in 69 seconds or something like that. So that's why I picked against him. I'm not hating on the guy. What he's done is phenomenal. If he beats or loses to Ciryl Gane, who does he fight next? Well, he still thinks he's got a good chance of facing Jon Jones because Jon Jones, Dana talked about it recently. He said he's done. He's got arthritis and all this, and Jon Jones came out and had a bit of a tweet and delete storm on Twitter, right? You never know. Jon Jones might come back because, as Pereira said, he's under contract. They're not going to release him from contract. And if Jon Jones gets that itch and gets that scratch, listen, I'd still love to see it. And Pereira still wants to fight Jon Jones. And that would be something unbelievable. And if Pereira goes off and becomes a 3-weight division champion, right? Jon Jones might want to come back, and Dana and the UFC and Hunter and everyone might go, you know what? He can be a liability, but dude, we got...
Yeah, this got to be Cyryl's last crack at a title, right? Like, this will be his 5th chance at an interim or undisputed. He won the interim one against Derek Lewis, but the rest is being, no contests or losses. I know the division is thin, and I know it's rough, but, like, I can't imagine a world where he gets a 6th chance if he loses this.
Yeah, and that too, we just spoke about it with the first fight. Again, when the division is rough, it just makes it look like, the title fights aren't as exciting because the rest of the division is rough. So it almost looks like, well, who else is there to fight for this except for these 2 guys? So there is a little bit of that involved in this fight. But again, I don't want to take anything away from the fight because, like I said, Alex is probably going to go down as the greatest fighter we've ever seen if he can pull this off. Ciryl Gane is an absolute stud, and he's capable of being great. He hasn't really done that and showed us that yet in the big moments. So because he hasn't showed us in the big moments, that's why I'm not putting this higher. He hasn't done that, but he has the potential to do that now. That they fought, like, who has Alex fought that moves like Ciryl Gane? Like, we don't even know how. I mean, maybe we can go back to his kickboxing days and see something, but we haven't seen it in MMA. And then for Ciryl Gane, like, we haven't seen him face a guy quite like this, right? And the only thing that we've seen him face that was similar to this, it's not in style, but it's in aura, Jon Jones, and he completely folded. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on fight, and this is in the White House too, man. So that's another factor for Ciryl Gane that I'm a little concerned with, because if he can't deal with, like, being at the White House and fighting a big fight like this, then man.
Thomas then zooms out to the bigger picture and frames Pereira's move to heavyweight as a legitimate quest for history, a chance to cement a legacy that can never be questioned. He doesn't hesitate. Winning this interim belt would officially make Pereira the first 3-division UFC champion in history, and the interim label doesn't take anything away from that achievement. The real question isn't about the belt itself, it's whether Ciryl Gane is truly championship material in every way, not just the skill, which Thomas says he has in spades, but mentally and emotionally too. We've seen the stumbles against Francis Ngannou and the flat performance against Jon Jones that made people doubt his championship DNA. But the Gane we're seeing now looks like he's grown, evolved, and is finally ready to match Pereira when everything is on the line.
Question outside your own fight. You've always been very, very staunchly in the belief that interim champion is a champion.
Facts.
So does that mean guaranteed Alex Pereira goes up to heavyweight?
He's a champion. He's a champion.
3-weight head champion.
Fuck interim. Like, you can't tell me a guy gets a belt. Like, interim, look up the word interim, what it means. In the meantime, in the interim, he is the champion. So, as well, like my belts have how many rubies on them? People trying to like discredit it and be like, oh, well, one of them was interim. I'm like, well, come take it away. Come take it away from me. But yeah, he's gonna be the champion, and then he's gonna have a super fight with John Jones, and that'll be a big ass fight too. But that's still the White House.
You should be negotiating for John Jones then, because it doesn't sound like they're getting to the right money there.
Really, they'll find a way. The UFC and the brass over there, they always, and the fighters as well, they butt heads for their managers. But we always get there in the end.
And here's the truth most people won't say out loud. Even if you're focused on the technical breakdown on the surface, the real stakes here go far beyond just another headline fight for the media to chew on. Ciryl Gane is warning us that combat sports has this nasty habit of repeating history. Titles get hyped to the moon, champions get picked apart and second-guessed, and what looks crystal clear today can turn into a full-blown controversy tomorrow. If one of these guys walks out of that octagon as the undisputed champ, the ripple effects could reshape the entire heavyweight division for years. Past wins and title defenses get rewritten through different lenses over time. And on a card that's already loaded with storylines, this one fight has the power to completely steal the show, turning a single result into the defining moment that changes the trajectory of the division forever.
The storylines going into this, I mean, Ciryl Gane, I have a real concern for Tom right now. And I am on Tom's side. I want to make sure my words are clear, but I have a real concern because he is scratching the surface of a road that so many guys go down and they never come back. 1 year ago today, Tom wants to compete and he doesn't understand it. John wants a bunch of money. He's looking at the UFC going, you got a contract with the guy, get him in the ring. And that mindset appears to be gone. All of a sudden, it's not about competition. Now it's about money. And now all of a sudden, it's not about, hey, guys, thanks for everything you've done for me. It's, hey, guys, I'm being told by other people you haven't done enough for me. When you go down that road, there's no coming back. And I only share that with you. It's very relevant. As we go into Pereira versus Gane, the story of the White House is that we could have our first ever champ. But people are saying no. They're saying the interim belt doesn't count. And that's not a fight that I want to have.
As Alex Pereira locks in mentally and physically for this war against Ciryl Gane in front of that historic White House backdrop, there's way more happening beneath the surface than just a flashy, stylistic matchup the fans are dying to see. Ciryl Gane is straight up saying there's a much bigger, more dangerous shift taking over combat sports right now. And it's honestly concerning if you actually pay attention. He's talking about how the raw hunger to compete at the highest level is slowly getting replaced by money, politics, and outside influence. And he points to the complicated situations around Tom Aspinall and John Jones as the perfect example of how fast that change can happen right in front of us. On top of that, you can feel this thick cloud of uncertainty hanging over the entire event. All the questions about interim titles and what even counts as legitimate in today's MMA are forcing us to ask the deeper question. Does winning this even guarantee a real undisputed title shot, or has it all become more political than competitive?
I'm going to put my sword down. Apparently, I'm the only one that cares. I don't care what comes in front of world champion. If it ends in world champion, I believe it counts. But if our community doesn't fight, I'm just here to tell you history is a way to repeat itself. And when people like to say that Tom is the undisputed champion, they have very short-term memories. Because if I was to say, did he win that? I go, are you sure? I say, did he defend that? Are you sure? Like, people would have to kind of remember and go, well, no, I guess he was an interim and I guess he was elevated. Right thing to do. But if history does repeat itself and Tom does go down this road, if Tom doesn't come back, the significance of Ciryl versus Pereira is going to be huge. The significance of that fight, if one ends up elevated to undisputed champion, which is what just happened to us 5 months ago in the very division. There is so much on this card, but sometimes it comes out.
Bisping keeps going and explains exactly why this matchup could end up being one of the most fan-pleasing, must-watch fights in recent memory. He knows the hardcore fans will roast him for saying it, but when you actually break down the styles, the striking battle between Pereira and Gane is almost impossible to top for pure entertainment. At the same time, Gane's future is still up in the air. Win or lose this weekend, he's still chasing that dream fight with John Jones everyone wants to see. but a massive victory here against Pereira could catapult him into serious conversation as a multi-division threat and put him on the path toward becoming one of the most accomplished fighters in UFC history. Forget the title politics and future bookings for a second. Any fight with Alex Pereira at this stage of his career is automatically a blockbuster. Fans tuning in know they're getting high stakes, headline-making action they'll still be talking about months from now.
Fight deal. Of course, the first fight on that deal will be against Ciryl Gane for the heavyweight title, the interim heavyweight title. Now, the old cliche in combat sports is I don't want to look past my opponent because, you know, I'm focused on Ciryl Gane, and he should be, because that's a tough fight. But it's a very winnable fight. It's a very compelling, fun matchup. A lot of people came out talking shit to me because I said it might be a better matchup than Jon Jones. The reason I said that, and it's pretty goddamn obvious, is because it will be a striking affair, right? People didn't love the BMF because Charles Oliveira dominated the fight on the ground. And more than likely, I'm not being disrespectful to Pereira, you got to think that's what Jon Jones would do. He would take him down. And if Pereira could defend the submissions, it'll look like the BMF, right? And everyone booed. Everyone talked shit. Even Dana White didn't like it.
Den Thomas cuts through the noise and explains exactly why Alex Pereira remains a must-watch fighter every single time he steps into the octagon. The guy has basically carried the UFC on his back for the last 2 years, delivering unforgettable moments that have elevated the entire sport. Now he's making this bold, almost noble leap up to heavyweight, a challenge most fighters wouldn't even dream of. He's facing a legitimate, naturally sized heavyweight in Gane, who brings the size, the tools, and the technical skill to give Pereira problems we haven't seen before. That alone makes this fight incredibly compelling and unpredictable. But Thomas also points out there's something quietly holding this matchup back from being even higher on everyone's most anticipated list. Maybe it's the shadow of Tom Aspinall waiting on the sidelines for his turn, with these two elite fighters battling over what many see as his rightful spot. It just leaves this subtle question hanging over the whole thing. What does it really mean in the grand scheme of the division?
That's weak, but
so based upon that knowledge, this makes for a better fan-pleasing matchup. But yeah, I'm a dickhead if I say that, right? Jesus Christ, you just can't win. So anyway, Ciryl Gane, who knows, right? Who knows if he wins that fight? We don't know. But he's still convinced that he's going to fight Jon Jones one day, because regardless of whether or not he beats Ciryl Gane, which is a tough fight, and if he does beat him, he becomes a three-weight division champion. Does that automatically make him the most successful UFC fighter of all time? Because on paper it does. But when you look at the matchups, does it make him the best? Does that make his career more impressive than Jon Jones, than George St. Pierre, than Anderson Silva, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson? I don't know, but it's certainly a topic of conversation. Let me know your thoughts on that. But if he beats him, and even if he doesn't beat him, right, who is he gonna fight? Because that kind of paycheck, he's gonna be involved in nothing but blockbuster fights.
Michael Bisping is breaking this fight down layer by layer, and he starts with the obvious. On this stacked card tied to Pereira's new promotional deal, we're getting Pereira versus Gane for the interim heavyweight title right out of the gate. The hype is real, and it's earned. But Bisping says the focus has to stay on what Gane brings. And make no mistake, this is a dangerous, winnable fight if Pereira sticks to his game plan. What makes it so addictive for fans is the pure style clash we're about to see. This isn't another heavyweight snooze fest full of grappling and wrestling. This is a straight-up striking war from bell to bell, and it could end up being more entertaining than half the marquee fights people have been comparing it to lately. Both guys can produce highlight reel knockouts at any moment, so Bisping is calling it exactly what it is. A potential striking masterclass that's going to have fans on the edge of their seats from the very first second until the final horn.
Pereira going up to heavyweight is something that's been long discussed, and I guess the big thing is, like, is he going for history? Is he not? It's the interim belt. Like, if he wins this fight, are you going to consider him the first 3-division UFC champion, or does he have to get upgraded?
I would.
Yeah?
I would. Like, yeah, I absolutely would.
Even though it's interim.
Even though it's interim. I mean, like, interim, like, yes, like, the difference is just putting a word in front of it. But it's like Ciryl Gane is still champion. Well, and that's another thing too, right? What we have to find out is Ciryl Gane championship level material. Like, skill wise, I do believe he is, but mentally and, you know, just emotionally, And with his entire being, is he championship level material? And that's what we want to find out, because we seen him lose against Francis, where he went in the fight, but just made the silly mistake at the end. And then we saw him completely lay an egg against John Jones. And that's not championship level material, but he's seemed to have matured into it. Now, when he was fighting Tom Aspinall, he showed championship level material fighting, even though it was a little dirty. And that's another thing. Can he fight cleanly with championship level material? How can you not love watching Alex fight? Like, he's carried the UFC on his back for almost 2 years, and he's done such great things. And the fact that he's moving up is incredibly noble. And he's taken on Ciryl Gane, who is a legit heavyweight that I think stylistically presents problems to him. And I think it's a great fight, but it's just something had to be at number 4. And there's something about it that and it might just be, again, maybe that lingering Tom Aspinall effect over the whole thing. Like Tom watching from the sidelines, watching two guys fight for his position. I don't want to say his belt, but his position. And I think something about that might kind of weigh it down a little bit from rising up a little.
MMA Guru keeps it blunt and doesn't sugarcoat a thing. Pereira's move up to heavyweight isn't just some interesting side quest, it's been coming for a long time. With those vicious low kicks and relentless pressure he brings every fight, the Guru believes Pereira can absolutely handle Gane, even though the Frenchman is dangerous enough to hurt him badly if he lands clean. At this new weight, Pereira is fighting like a natural heavyweight now, which is wild when you remember he was just competing at middleweight not that long ago. If the fight goes as planned, expect another highlight reel knockout that gets replayed for years. On the flip side, Israel Adesanya makes his position crystal clear. Interim champions are still real champions. Period. End of discussion. If Pereira wins this, he instantly becomes a 3-division title holder. No asterisks, no debate. Adesanya shuts down any talk of discrediting the belt. Interim just means you held the title while the undisputed champ was sidelined. You earned it. And beyond that, a win over Gane sets up the super fight with John Jones the entire MMA world is starving to see. All of it playing out against the unbelievable White House backdrop. Michael Bisping adds the final layer, pointing out this could actually be Gane's last real shot at UFC gold. After 4 previous cracks at a title, winning only the interim against Derek Lewis, and coming up short every other time, he literally cannot afford another loss at this stage of his career. The heavyweight division is messy with politics and injuries, and Bisping says it's hard to picture Gane getting a 6th opportunity if he falls short here. So tell me, who do you think walks out on top in this absolute barn burner that could reshape the entire division? Drop your prediction and your reasoning in the comments right now. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button for all the latest fight breakdowns, behind the scenes stuff, and in-depth analysis on the biggest matchups in combat sports. Stay locked in. This one has everything it takes to be the fight we talk about for a long time.